Hello, welcome back to The Good, the Bad and the Stupid. It's Wednesday, September the 11th. Just a quick reminder, it's available on all podcast channels and platforms, also available on YouTube. If you've got time to sit around watching shit podcast videos all day, if you can, and you do, then I'm there with the many. Just a quick mention regarding the date. It's September the 11th, a date that's burned into many people's memories as the day the Twin Towers were attacked 18 years ago, and it still feels as raw or as recent as last year, or it's so sort of strong in the memory. You always remember where you are when certain things happen, and that's one of them. So yeah, thoughts with all the people that were affected by that all those years ago. Right, so we're going to get straight on with the news of the day, which is basically going to start with Fireman Sam has been banned from promotional material by the fire service, Lincolnshire Fire Service. So I don't know if that's the fire service as a whole, but they're getting all woke, is it, or they're getting all sensitive because they're saying that the Fireman Sam is too white. How can he be too white, too male, too white, and puts off women from joining the fire service? So is it putting non-white people off joining the fire service as well? That's just pathetic, isn't it? That's just some sensitive person being sensitive for others when the others weren't sensitive at all. You know these people who are being sensitive on your behalf. They're going, oh, I think people will be offended by that, so I don't think we should do it. Whereas other people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not offensive in the slightest. So he's projecting his sensitivity onto other people, second guessing what you would think. So I think that's ridiculous. You can have firemen, you can have firewomen, you can have white firemen, you can have black firemen, you can do what the fuck you like. He's not offensive, I'm afraid. So if anybody, Fireman Sam shouldn't go. The person who made that decision should go, or at least be sort of schooled on what is actually offensive and what's not. There's a bit of worse things going on in the world than fucking Fireman Sam advertising fireman jobs. At the end of the day, get him some mates if you want to sort of what you're going to have then a fire lady as the advertising, and then is that meant to put off firemen? How far are you going to go with it? It's ridiculous. Anyway, TV awards last night, and it all kicked off at the TV awards apparently between Emmerdale and Hollyoaks. Not the TV programmes. Two cast members started having it off. Didn't say what it was having it off in a fight way, not having it off in a sexual way. And the one guy, Hassan, no idea who he is because I don't watch the programmes, threw a punch at Jamie, no idea who he is because I don't watch the programme, and said, "Do you think you are a fucking big man? I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking knife you." Bad choice of words in the current climate, I think, Hassan. You're not fucking doing yourself, holding onto that job, any favours there, especially with the police reporting it. I'm sure you're pissed out your brains, apparently, but that's what he was saying, I'm going to knife you. And then somebody else said to him, "Come on, Hassan, relax, it's not that kind of party." I don't think any party's that kind of party. It's not the kind of party where you fucking go around threatening to knife people. And funnily enough, ironically, he was actually previously nominated for an award with the show starring in a knife crime storyline. So, yeah, I think the free champagne's gone to his head. So I think he just needs to, be given not a telling off, but he should be given some kind of he should be giving some kind of information about knife crime or whatever, although he should have had that from that storyline that he had. So anyway, as I said, bad choice of words and made yourself look a bit silly. If anything, I'm sure he was never going to knife anybody, but there you go. That's what shows what getting pissed out your brains can do. It can make you do very, very silly things. I used to do that. That's a work party, isn't it? Basically for them, so that's a work party. I remember we used to get work parties and it was all free. free drinks, free wine, and free, was it cheese and wine evenings and all that kind of stuff. And you used to get pissed out of your brains and then say the wrong things to the wrong people. Always a double headache in the morning because you've got to face the people that you said certain things to, as well as work and try and do your work with a hangover. It was never on a Friday. It was always like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so you had to go to work the next day. Anyway, but less about that. Less about my misdemeanors. About this, another yob here. A yob faces jail after subjecting his victim to a vicious beating with a pumpkin. So that's threatening the far. If knife crime is the far right, then fucking hitting somebody over there with a pumpkin is the far left of violence, isn't it? Because, but I suppose that would be quite painful, wouldn't it? Being smashed over the head with a pumpkin. They ain't fucking light. Anyway, he broke down his front door, then hit him over the head with a vegetable, and after wrongly believing he had insulted him. So he'd actually gone there armed with a pumpkin, smashed him over the head, and I'm going to fucking kill you, you cunt. So that's the words that's wrote here. The police called the flat where Anthony lived in Salford, found what was left of the pumpkin next to his pots and pans. The victim had bought the vegetable himself. Anyway, I don't think he was seriously injured. Otherwise, I wouldn't have told the story. But rather a pumpkin than a knife. But as I said, he can probably do some fucking serious damage with that. Actually, maybe he should shorten. Go with an apple next time or something, and then because he's been done for GBH and everything, even still threatening dangerous weapon. It's quite embarrassing, really, isn't it? A dangerous weapon. I'll explain when you explained it to you other hard men. I was a pumpkin. Oh right, okay. You're the pumpkin. Mr. Pumpkin. That's what I'd be calling him, Mr. Pumpkin, or the hard man, Mr. Pumpkin. What the fuck am I talking about? Chris Packham was at the celebrity thing as well, and he said that he's calling on celebrity producers to stop abusing animals on the show. Chris Packham, the guy from the Spring Watch and all the animal programs, and he's basically got people's noses out of joint because he's stood up and said that they should stop abusing animals. And it's true. I'm a Celebrity is actually aimed at it in particular, which is true. If you ask me, I don't know if I haven't seen. I don't watch it, but I know that they fucking eat all the animals and they have spiders crawling all over and put rats in with the cages and everything. So they've got to be getting injured anyway, the animals, haven't they? But I just think it's disrespectful to the animals. If I'm going to be, some people are going to call me an idiot here, but they're eating things like fucking kangaroos bollocks and stuff, ain't they? And body parts of dead animals and stuff, So they're actually going like cutting the nuts off dead kangaroos and going, yeah, we'll fucking make the contestants eat this on Celebrity Get Me Out of Here and all shit like that. The eyeballs of crocodiles and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of it's disrespectful to the animals to be doing that to their bodies and stuff. I know they're being probably killed for food and everything anyway, but it's just I don't find it very. I don't find that entertaining. People fucking choking on a kangaroo's bollocks, It's just, or another animal's penis or bull's penis or whatever else that they do. It's just gutter TV, isn't it? I feel even more offended by the people that are on there, even the type of contestant, the sort of fame hungry. Nobody's like me. I'll probably get on there one day if they come dangling a £50,000 check and say, or dangling a pair of kangaroos' testicles. I'll probably be fucking chomping on them just like anybody else for the paycheck. But I like to think that is never going to happen, and the offer will never come. So I will never be given that chance to embarrass myself. Jeffrey Boycott has been given a knighthood. Many people don't like that. Many people think he should have been boycotted, or shouldn't even be in the mention because he battered his wife a long time ago. So I just think they give knighthoods out to people for fucking no reason at all. knighthood should be for people who actually have done something worthy, i.e., in saving people's lives, or Rambo. Give Rambo a knighthood. Have you got an English version of Rambo? That guy deserves a fucking knighthood, not somebody who talks about cricket or has done cricket. Cricket gets loads of knighthoods. What the fuck? It doesn't make no sense to me. They're not special. They're special in cricket. You don't deserve a knighthood, sorry. Otherwise, but, or at least give the service people a knighthood alongside you. But they don't even do that, do they? So fucking the country's back to front. That was Theresa May's dealings again. She's still making dodgy decisions even after she's left office. Let's get on to something a little bit more interesting, like Rasta Mouse. Remember Rasta Mouse? Love Rasta Mouse. That was fucking hilarious. Soon they'll be saying we've got to ban Rasta Mouse because he's playing a black mouse, or a Rastafarian. That's offensive to here, there and everywhere. It's not encouraging people to join up to the Rastafarian religion, or maybe it's getting too many people wanting to join up and smoking weed and whatever else. But anyway, the creator of the Rasta Mouse dodged prison after the judge's daughter told her dad not to jail him for cheating the doll. So the guy basically claimed extra money on the doll. Michael D'Souza wrote the books about the rodent who solves mysteries with his reggae band, Da Easy Crew. And the judge said, not even Da Easy Crew can get him out of this one. And basically said, I've got young children, and I used to be a big fan of Rasta Mouse. And he told his 8-year-old daughter, who's a big fan when she was younger, that Mr. D'Souza was appearing before me, and she wasn't keen on him being given a custodial sentence. So she basically talked him out of putting the writer of Rasta Mouse, sending him to prison and giving him 160 hours of community service instead. So that's good. But I don't know whether you should be taking or even discussing the fact that you've took advice from outside of the court on your court cases. You couldn't do that in a murder thing, could you? Or whatever. Go, oh, come on, Dad, I don't think you should send him down and whatever. Anyway, I'm happy about that because he's obviously fallen on hard times or whatever. But why don't somebody offer him the opportunity to turn Rasta Mouse into a movie like SpongeBob or something like that? I think it would be a big hit, and then he wouldn't have to fiddle the doll, would he? Anyway, let's move on to somebody. Another fiddler was the ex-banker Nick Leeson. Remember him? Nick Leeson, who crashed the bank, Barings Bank. We've lost £827 million. But there's a guy who looks like him, and he looks a bit like him, but he couldn't get a job anywhere because everyone said that he looked like him, so nobody wanted to give him a job. I'm not too sure whether that was just, he's a financier, so they wouldn't give him a job because he looked like Nick Leeson. He ended up having to sort of swerve trying to be a financier, and became and basically eventually found work as a film double for Nick Leeson. So he's ended up just going, fuck it, I'll just fucking go with it, just ride the wave of what everybody's saying that I look like Nick Leeson. So he's probably just writing out CVs then going, I look like Nick Leeson, I look like Nick Leeson. Any films going about looking like Nick Leeson? And he's made money that way around. So in Indonesia apparently, so that's where wasn't that where it happened, or was it Singapore? Somewhere over those ways, or Hong Kong, I don't know, I can't remember. Singapore, I think it was. But anyway, so if anybody needs any Nick Leeson lookalikes, parties or whatever else, if you'd like somebody to come along, is that like a party atmosphere? Somebody who's killed the banking system? No, not really. Anyway, he's available if you need it. We spoke the other day, big news of the day actually, should have said this one first. The big news, which is in all the newspapers, was a guy who opened a bag of cheesy Wotsits and found just one cheesy puff in the bag. That was on all the newspapers, on quite big headlines as well. So we found one cheesy puff, and he couldn't believe it. What's he say? And he's basically gone along with the other day when somebody opened a tin of beans and there was just one solitary bean in there. So there's going to be lots of these stories coming out where somebody's opened something and there's just one in there. You could just make one up, couldn't you? Just say there's only one in there. All of a sudden, you complain to the company and get sent, I don't know, a month's supply of cheesy Watsits or something as an apology. So there you go. There's a bit of a scam there for people if they want to do that. UFC girls have been banned. UFC girls are under pressure to ban. UFC is under pressure to ban octagon girls. Campaigners call the tradition of bikini-clad women parading around mixed martial arts cages sexist and outdated. I mean, it's 2019. Do we really still want scantily clad women to wander around the middle of a fighting ring between rounds? I don't know. Are you a fan of UFC? Do you actually go to the games? Is it offending you when you're at the games, or are you just offended even though you don't even have nothing to do with it? You're just, again, projecting your sensitivity onto other people. A lot of people don't care. If the girls probably don't care. If they can't find the girls to do it, I don't know. I suppose it's like it's a male-orientated environment. So if they're being offended, the girls are finding it a difficult place to work and they don't enjoy it, then so be it. But if the girls do enjoy it, and a lot of them are models at the end of the day, and they model their looks, they model their figures and whatever else, and they get paid to be a model. That's what they want to be. So I don't know. You're going to sort of, you're almost saying you shouldn't have bikini adverts, bikini calendars, bikini photo shoots. You know, that one could run deep as well, doesn't it? So it's not just UFC. So I don't know. I think if people enjoy it and they want it, they're not harming anybody. Most Britons are in favour of contacting aliens. There we go, way out there. I thought I'd bring this one up because they're saying that most men are more enthusiastic than women to contact aliens, but some women are. But the funny thing about it was that those who voted for Remain were more likely to vote to initiate contact with aliens than those who voted Leave. That's taking immigration and their arguments on the countries to fall to another level there, isn't they? If that's their point, that the reason why they wouldn't want to contact aliens is that they feel that the aliens might want to come and move in and start taking our jobs. That's not the main reason for the Remain, but it'd be funny if that was the reason that they didn't want to contact aliens, that they were worried about the influx of aliens coming down, and then where would we be? We haven't got enough room for the bloody English people, foreign people, and now we're going to have aliens turning up. Where are they going to live? So there we go. ET is going to be... they're probably already here anyway, so don't worry about it. I mean, there's plenty of people who are fucking act like aliens. Didn't we have this conversation the other day? Yeah, there's plenty of people who sound like they're from another fucking planet anyway, I know that. Can't think of any off the top of my head. I'll name names. Sean Ryder, he was off his head. He was not another planet. He was off his head when he bit a dog when he was a postman. Sean Ryder says he was sacked as a postman after he bit a dog after taking LSD. That's a great way to get around your post round, isn't it? Get around fucking on LSD. Anyway, the dog was trying to bite him, so he thought it was only fair, and he bit the dog. And I grabbed it and I bit its head and threw it down. How did he lose his job though? Doesn't say. So the dog hardly can complain about it, can it? So he must have the owner must have watched it through the window or something or other. Was the owner watching through the window as the dog was trying to bite his ankles and not saying anything? But anyway, there you go. That's the way to get around your postal round if you want to. Sean Ryder's, what's he say? He's also said he's got undiagnosed dyslexia and ADHD, which led him to a life of petty crime before fame. Funny character. So he's never had to do that again anyway, has he? So he's literally enjoying life with the Happy Mondays, and apparently he doesn't do it that much anymore. He's just like tours with Happy Mondays. They're actually touring at the moment, so if you want to go and see them, check them out. I've lost my train of thought there. Where was a motorist? Oh, that's it. I was trying to read this. The motorist has spent nearly £30,000 fighting an appeal that he lost. I feel for this guy. I mean, I'm a dog with a bone, but this guy took it way too far. He's a motorist who spent nearly £30,000 fighting an appeal for a £100 speeding fine that he got. He felt aggrieved because he got done for doing 35 in a 30-mile-an-hour speeding zone, and he's fought it, and he's ended up taking it to magistrate. The money's gone on. His life savings have gone on fucking barristers' fees, court costs, and travel, and he's still lost. That is a wounder. You got to know when to give up. I've fought things, and I fought a parking fine once, and it went all the way to bailiffs, and I ended up having to pay £500 because I was actually in the right. That's 100%. But at the same time, they wouldn't agree, and they wouldn't listen to my appeal, and they said I was out of time and all this kind of stuff, and I ended up having my van clamped and I had to pay £500, and that was a big wounder for me. But he's gone all the way to 30 grand. You got to know when to stop, haven't you? £100 fine, and he thought he was going to get off. So let that be a lesson to you. Argue it, but know your limits. You know, if it gets to a grand or something, you got to turn back and just say fuck it, and just lick your wounds and move on. A Peaky Blinders themed lager has been created by Brommy Brewery, Sadler's, featuring the original gang. So we're still milking the Peaky Blinders, us Brummies. Peaky Blinders is our big sales point. So you can get that. I don't know if you can only get it in Birmingham, but it's going to be in the bars in Birmingham, but it might be in the bars everywhere. So look out for that, Peaky Blinders beer. I don't know if it's based on an old recipe or whatever. Probably tastes like shit if it does. But anyway, there is a bar in Birmingham called the Peaky Blinders. I don't know if it's still open now. Not the one yesterday I was talking about, the Garrison pub, but there is actually a bar called the Peaky Blinders on Dale End. I'm sure it is. So you can get down there. They're bound to have it in there anyway. The Hole Punch fanatic. I spoke about this guy the other week. He had a Hole Punch collection. His wife forced him to sell it because it's a shit thing to collect, and it was littering up the house. He thought we'd only get £200. He's actually sold them for £450. So there's somebody else just as mad as him who's willing to spend £450 on a bunch of hole punches. Not modern ones from Staples, old antique ones that you find. So I think, they look good ornamentally, but not. How many did he have? He had about 200 of them. So there you go. If you missed your chance on those, if you were looking out for some. A noisy neighbour belted out her own incoherent lyrics while listening to loud music, has avoided jail by breaching her criminal behaviour order 9 times. She used to bang on her neighbour's door several times, yelling, "Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off." I don't know if that was the lyrics to her song, but anyway, she's been given. And also, what was it? Everybody give a round of applause. Everybody shout, woo! So she's been given a Noise Abatement award. So, noisy neighbours. My neighbour used to fucking learn to play the trumpet, I remember, and he was a right annoying because he couldn't play it. So, imagine somebody learning to play the trumpet for hours regularly, and eventually I don't think he ever become a trumpet player, so he just did it and annoyed me for fucking months before he decided to give it up. What's this guy? Don McLean has hit out and claims that his partner is a gold digger. The 73-year-old singer has said that why people are thinking that his 25-year-old beautiful girlfriend is a gold digger who's 25. She's probably not, but he's saying that she's helping him get around his concerts, and if anything, she's helping him do the concerts that he's in 85 cities doing all these concerts, and she's going with him and he's helping him get through it. So there you go. If you're a fan, you've got to support him. Anyway, she's an adult, he's an adult, they can do what they want. It's a bit of a big age gap. You know, I don't think when I'm 73 I'll ever be able to attract a 25-year-old girlfriend, but hey, good luck to him. He's got what is it? He's got like I don't know. Don McLean, is he the attractive guy? He's got one of those fucking big comb overs and everything, you know. I don't know. He's horses for courses, I suppose, as they say. What I'm going to finish up on here. I've missed my botched penis. A man who has been left unable to have sex after a botched circumcision has won £125,000 payout. The patient thought it was going for a minor operation and ended up with unable to have sex. That is an absolute wounder. After a botched circumcision, how do you accidentally fucking render somebody unable to have sex? A circumcision is just the end of your foreskin, isn't it? The surgeon's gone to town on him there, unfortunately. So hopefully he gets it fixed. But otherwise, he's got 125 grand to spend doing other things, find other hobbies other than feel any kind of sexual activity, unfortunately. Right, going to finish up on one last thing. More than £1.5 billion in old £10 and £5 notes have not been cashed in more than a year after they've been stopped being legal tender. I'm a bit gutted because I've got a couple of those really old notes in the drawer, and I always thought that they'd be usable, but unfortunately they've gone out of use. I don't know if they're talking about the ones just recently or the ones way before that, but old £5 and £10 notes have gone out of use. So if you've been saving them, unfortunately you're going to lose out there. So we're going to finish up on one more thing. People increasingly want to have comedy at their funerals and want to turn them into funny affairs rather than sort of commiseration. And people are having funny things now, like the Flowers saying he was a bastard, or other funny situations like that. And I always reminded me of the programme Cold Feet, when there was a sad time when one of the cast members died, and that one guy, who is actually a comedian in real life, he got up to give a speech, and what did he say? All he could say was one line, and he said that she owed me a tenner. And I thought that was fucking hilarious, and that was stuck with me. And I thought, like, that was the kind of thing that you'd say to break the ice at a funeral, you know, because everybody else just looked around as if to say, you know, what the fuck. But I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, turn it into something happy. Celebrate, don't commiserate, and remember, just like September the 11th, remember the people that died on that day all those years ago. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Going to see you again tomorrow. See you later. Bye bye.